Hi and welcome to the second part of this small business bookkeeping tutorial. In the second part, we're going to use Excel to create a custom invoice template. So you can go into Google and you can go into probably Excel's library of documents, and you can download a template and you can use that template to create an invoice. It will be predefined for you and already created, but I think it's worth you understanding how to create it yourself, because then if you want to adjust that template in any way, the invoice itself, you'll have a bit more control and understand how things are done. So I think it's worth learning. So what we'll do is open up this folder and just have a quick recap of what we did in part one of this tutorial. It's quite important because these two parts really link quite closely together. So in the first part, we created this spreadsheet, and this spreadsheet could have contained literally hundreds or even thousands of rows of invoices that we sent out to our clients. In the first tutorial, if you haven't watched that, I'll put a link to it in the YouTube description, but the greens just represented payments that have come in for invoices that we sent out. The blue ones are outstanding, and then we've got things like the country location, we've got the amount that we've charged the customer, whether they've paid us or not, payment references, dates, invoice numbers, all this good stuff, right? So we use this spreadsheet to help populate the invoice that we're going to send to our customer. So what we'll do is close this for now, and we'll go to Excel and we'll create a new blank workbook, and down here in sheet 1 I'm going to name this invoice template, and we'll go to file, save as. Just going to save this into that same directory with a slightly different name. It's called part 2. So in part 2 I'm going to create a file in Excel, and I want to name that file 001 invoice, let's do all lowercase, invoice template, right? I'm going to call it invoice 01 invoice template, and let's call it version 1 of this template. Let's click save, and if I minimize this, now we've got this new file called 01, and our original tracker is called 00. So as and when we save these documents, they'll be stacked in the right order, a logical order. That's what 01 and 00 represent, right? The stacking order. So let's go back to Excel. And in Excel, we want to go to, let's see, we'll go to page layout and go to margins. And in margins, we want to do custom margin. And in custom margin, we want to set the top one to 0.1. And we'll select this with our mouse. And we'll press Ctrl+C to copy and paste it into the header, the right side, the left side, and the bottom. But the footer, we're going to leave it at 0.8. Because we're going to put a footer in there with our company details and some other little bits that we may need. Let's click OK, and you think nothing's really happened here, right? But if we go to, let's see, if we go to view and then click on page layout, you see there's a thin border at the top, there's a thin margin here, there's like a little gap around the edge, but towards the bottom, we're going to have a footer here, and we'll be able to add some data into that. Hopefully it shouldn't be too difficult, and then we can have a custom footer as well. We might build that in the spreadsheet, or we might build that into the footer section. We'll check in a moment. Let's click on normal here, normal, and we'll click on home, and we'll go to save, right? And what you'll notice, I'm going to zoom out. You don't need to do this, but I'm going to hold down the control key and zoom right out, and these little dotted lines represent this one page, and we're going to do all of our work within the boundary of this one page, because that will be our invoice template. So if I hold down the control key and zoom back in, this might be a little bit more difficult for you to see, but there's a dotted line down the side here. You can see this dotted line, let's see, this dotted line right here, that goes all the way down, and then it will continuously go, but it will get to a point where we should see, let's zoom out a little bit here, let's see it down here. Now where's it gone? Here. So at this point here, there's almost like a cross junction here, right? And this dotted line going across here represents the bottom of the page, and the one going across the right hand side represents the right edge of the page. So we're going to do all of our work within the realms of that boundary. So let's click on this first cell, and we're going to drag across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows down, and drag all the way across to here. And we're going to highlight this part of the spreadsheet, and we're just going to color it any color, preferably a light color like yellow. Yellow will be a good color to highlight, right? So we can see that this is going to be our header section, and we're going to do all of our work on our header within the realms of this boundary or this yellow section. And the first thing we want to do, and if you've ever received an invoice, normally in the top right hand corner you'll see a company name or address at least, and maybe a contact number, and then on the left hand side you might see the company logo. So remember, this is our invoice that we're creating for our own business. So we're going to put our own address, our own contact phone number, and our company logo within the realms of this yellow section. So to do that, what we'll do is click on insert here. And as you're going through, you should always click on this save button or press Ctrl S, right? So we'll click on insert and we want to insert a text box here, text box. So we'll click on that and we're just going to drag. So we're going to left click here and drag across and draw out like a little box here, something around this sort of size. You can play around with this a little bit. You can readjust it afterwards, so it's not too big, not too small, something around here. And we're going to click inside and I'm going to make up an address. I'm just going to do 64. Let's just do Glen Road, and that's in Stratford, E15 4DL. So this is just fictional, I'm making it up. I'm going to do telephone, and I'll just make up a phone number here, something like this. And then I'm going to click outside of this address, right? I'm going to click outside, and then I'm going to click on it one more time. See, the phone number disappeared. Let's just click on it. So this means it's not quite tall enough. Let's make it a little bit taller. See, now when we click outside, the phone number stays there. Sometimes you've got to adjust the height a little bit, just a little bit, just to make sure that phone number can fit in there as well. Let's just adjust it a bit more. Let's bring that down slightly. There we go. So we'll click outside and then click on it one more time, and then we're going to right click and go to format shape. So we're going to format this white box. We don't want it to be white, we want it to be transparent. So let's go to the fill option here and say no fill. Now it's transparent, but it still has a border. So let's go to the line and say no line. And now when we left click outside, it's transparent, right? That's what we want. So let's click inside one more time and highlight this text with our mouse. We can change the font size here, maybe make it a bit smaller. 10 point should be good. And we're going to right align it, right align. Now we've put our address in there. That's good to go. And depending on the font size, you may need 5 rows or you may need 4 rows. I'm going to stick with the 5 rows, these 5 rows highlighted here, right, for our header section. I might increase this. I'm going to leave it at 5 rows because I might make this address a bit bigger in terms of its font size. So we can play around and make sure everything is kind of the right size later. And what we want to do now is add a logo on this side, right? Before we do that, we're going to highlight. So we're going to left click on number 1, hold down the left mouse button and drag down to row 5. So we highlight this whole row, and we're going to go back to our fill tool and say none. So now we're going to remove that fill, and then we're going to click on the number 5 here. So click on number 5 cell right here, cell A5, and then hold down the left mouse button, drag all the way across, and then we're going to go to the borders and say top border here, and we'll click save. Now we've kind of got this line separating our header from the content that's going to go below. And now we want to add a logo. Really, this is kind of let's give it a go, right? Let's just see. We might have to do a little bit of graphic work here, but that's something probably beyond the scope of this tutorial. But let's just show you how I would do it. Then you can speak to your graphic designer or whoever designed your logo, or you can do this job yourself, right? So we'll click portfolio. And this is my own portfolio. I'm going to click on logo, and I want to pick a logo, right? So let's use this one here. I'm going to click on this one, scroll down, and we've got the logo here. So I'm just going to drag this to the side, and then on my desktop we've got this folder, right? Here's this folder. Inside this folder I'm going to create a new folder, and I don't just drag images into this folder randomly. I'm going to create a special folder called assets. So anything that I need to use in my tracking invoice, like any images, anything like that, we'll probably only ever have one file in this assets, right? If we open it, all we'll ever have in there is our company logo. So we drag this into here. So now I've got a copy of the logo, but this logo's got a bit of a problem. It's got way too much white space at the top, the right hand side, the bottom, and the left and right hand side. So let's show you that as an error. Let's go, it's not really an error, but let's show you why it's a problem. Let's go to insert picture. When we insert a picture, let me do that a bit slower. So we'll go to insert here and picture, and we'll go to desktop, and we'll go to the folder, the assets folder, and we'll click on the logo and insert it. It's going to insert pretty big, right? It looks massive on the screen. So we'll use the control key and the mouse wheel to zoom out. We'll click on this left hand bottom section and drag to here, right? That's where we want the logo to be positioned, in the top left hand corner. But it's only going to be a small logo, and it's got all of this white space around it, which is stopping us from resizing the logo to a preferable size. So let's click on this and delete it. Let's save this and minimize it. And we're going to do a little bit of work in GIMP software. This is an image editing software. So like I said, it's probably beyond the scope of this tutorial, but I'm going to show you how to do this anyway, so you can learn something too. In terms of GIMP, what I'll do is I'll put a link to a YouTube description showing you how to download this software. If you have Photoshop or some other graphic software, all we're going to do is crop the image. So we're going to drag this into GIMP, and we see the image in here. We're going to use the crop tool here, crop image, and we're just going to draw a border around the crop mark around this logo. And then we can click on the left hand side and just try and get as minimum white space. You need a tiny bit of white space, but minimal amount, right? So there's a little gap here, there's a little gap on this side, there's a little gap at the bottom. We can even drag that up a little bit, and there's a little gap on the right hand side. Once I've got my crop selection, anything white will be kept, all of this grayed out area will be deleted, right? So I'll hit the enter key, and now it's been cropped. So we can go to File, Export. Let's go to Export As, and we want to save this as a JPEG file. So select File Type, let's go to JPEG. It's going to save it in the same directory, but I'm going to put a dash cropped at the end. So double P, cropped, and just click Export. And it's going to ask me what is the compression. I'm going to set it all the way to 100 and click Export. And then I'll close down GIMP software. Now we have two types of this graphic in here. We have the original one, which has, well, actually this is the new one, and this is the original one, right? This is the original file, and here's our cropped version. Okay, so now if we go back to Excel and go to Insert, Image or Picture, and select the cropped version and click Insert, we've got it nice and simply shaped here so that we can get it fitting much better now, right? We haven't got all that white space on the top, the left, the right hand side. Now it's looking nice. And you may see these like these cells behind it, and it may look a bit strange, but if we go to File, Save, let's go to File and save here, and then go to File, let's see, Print, let's click on, I think we can do Print Preview from here, Print, and now we can see the preview here, right? So you can see there's not all of those square boxes behind it. Really, this logo could have been, this text could have been moved up a little bit, but I think the logo is in a good position. But this text, this is why it's worth looking at a print preview. What you can do is you can click on here and then use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out slightly just to see it a bit more clearly. We're going to move this text up slightly, but I think the line is fine, and maybe the logo is slightly smaller, right? So let's go back here, and we'll make the logo slightly smaller, only a little bit. We'll click on this text box, and we want to drag it up just a little bit. It's a little bit too close to the bottom, so something like around here would be good. It won't let me do that. Let's drag this up a little bit. Let's drag this. Let's see. Let's try and get that up a little bit. Let's try and drag it from the bottom up here. If we drag it from the bottom, then we can reposition it better at the top here. I think something like this. Let's save it. Let's go to File, Print, and I think that looks much better now, right? And we may adjust the font size here as well, possibly later. Okay, so that's the header part done. Took a little bit of time and effort, but like all good things, it takes time and effort. Now you've got the ability to create 1 million different types of invoice templates for all your future companies. You can make a logo, you know how to do that, you know how to put your address in there. So we've learned something which is important. Let's just save this. And next thing we want to do is put an invoice number in here, and we also want to put the date. So I'm going to leave row 5 blank. We ended up using 4 rows, not 5. Well, the 5th row was where we put the line above, right? So row 5 I'm going to leave, let's think about this, right? In fact, what I'll do is, how's the best way to do? Okay, this is what we do. We're going to highlight row 6 like this, and we're going to click merge and center here. So that makes it into one big cell, basically, right? Think of it that way. You can see there's no lines going through it. It's like one big cell behaving like that. So when we double click inside, our mouse cursor is centered, and we're going to just use, you can do whatever you want, but I'm just going to type in invoice, all in capital letters, select it and make it bold, and then click outside. Now that's the word that represents what this document is. It's an invoice. You should write it there somewhere, right? And maybe we'll make it a slightly larger font. Let's make it like 16. Let's make it stick out, right? So people know now it's an invoice. There's no mistaking it. And the next thing we'll do is on this side here. Should we do it here? I think here should be fine, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just, yeah, let's do it here. I think here's a good position. So I'm going to left click here and drag across 4 cells, and I'm going to merge them as well. In fact, let's click this drop down. Let's see what else we've got in here. We can click merge cells here. Merge and center should be fine. If we click merge and center, and then we're going to left align it here. Click left align, and then we'll double click inside of here, and we're going to type in invoice. We'll do it like this, invoice. Let's do it upper lowercase like this properly. Invoice number, 2 dots, and then I know what that last invoice number was in our original spreadsheet, right? So we're going to put like a placeholder here. So we're just going to put DCP 2019 0001. That's the first invoice that we'll ever generate. That is its invoice number. In the tutorial part 1, we created that invoice number. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to go to the borders, and I'm going to set it to outside border here. So it's going to draw a box around it like this. And now I want to go to the right hand side, and I'm going to drag in 4 like this, and I'm going to do merge and center, but this time I'm going to right align it, right align here. I'm going to double click inside, I'm going to type in date, and I'm going to type in the 1st of the 1st 2019, because that was the date we used for the first invoice. Let's click back on here again. Let's go to the borders, or in fact the last option that you select will be pre-selected in this box here, so you don't have to click drop down and go to outside borders. You can just click on the little button next to it, and that will draw a border around the outside. So let's click save. Let's go to file, print, and now we can see our invoice, and we can see our invoice number and the date on this side, right? So we're starting to build some structure in our spreadsheet invoice template. So what else do we want to do? We need to state on this invoice who are we going to be invoicing. So that's quite important, right? What good is an invoice if it doesn't say who the invoice is to? So let's highlight these cells here, and we'll merge them together, merge and center, and we're going to highlight 1, 2, 3, 4 across, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 down like this. Maybe we'll do let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do 5 down, 5. Yeah. So we've got 4 across and 5 down, and we'll click merge and center as well. So really we've got 2 sections here. We've got a top section and a bottom section. I'm going to repeat that on the other side. So we'll go 4 across on row 9 like this, merge and center, and then we'll do the same here. So it's identical on both sides, merge and center. So in this top section, the top part here, we're going to left align, and in this top one here, we're also going to left align, and in this one, we're going to type in the company name. Now I can't remember it off my top of the head, so let's call it company name placeholder, right? So I'm going to call it company name placeholder, and in here we're going to put in the billing address. So there's a couple of ways to do that. We can just in fact, let's do it. There's probably a slightly better way to do this. So let's go to insert, and let's go to text box, and let's draw a text box in here. This is how I would normally do it. So we draw a little text box, and you can like adjust this or resize it. Normally I'll have it flush to the left hand side here, something like this, and then we're just going to put in a fictional placeholder address, right? So let's call it 99 placeholder road. Remember, this is a template, and we're going to replicate this template many times to make many invoices afterwards, right? So we'll just put a placeholder address in there for now, 99 placeholder road. Let's call this let's just use Stratford for the area. Let's just make up a postcode, and that's pretty much all we need. But sometimes you need a bit more space, because someone might have a slightly different type of address, right? They might have Golden House 99 blah 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 road, or whatever it might be, or Tower House, or whatever it's called. Yeah, they have a building name, so we leave an extra row there for that building name. But this is okay for now, and what we're going to do is click on this this text box, press Ctrl C to copy it, and then press Ctrl V to paste it, and we're going to drag the same copy but to the opposite side over here. like this. And normally what I would do is reduce the width of it. It doesn't need to be that wide. In theory, we made one slight mistake here, but we can fix that quite easily, right? So we'll leave a gap here on both sides, down the side here. Really what we should have done, before we copied it, we should have right clicked, went to format shape, and turn off the fill and turn off the line. And if when we copied and pasted it, it wouldn't have that, right? But if we click here on this one, we just click here and click here to remove the border and the background color. So now there'll be transparent white sitting in this section. So on this top one, we're going to highlight it, and we're going to do the border outside, and then we'll click here and we'll also do border outside. So now both of these sections have a border. We do this one here, border outside, and we do this one here, border outside. So you're probably asking me, why do we have a company name here and no company name here? Why do we have an address here and why do we have an address here? In this one, we're going to write ship to, ship to, and then you can type in the company name here again, company name placeholder, right? Like this, and then you can leave this address here, but just for argument's sake, I'm going to try and change it to 77. So in my business, I run a digital company. So literally 100% of the work I do, I never have to package anything or ship it to the customer. If they want a logo, I send it via email. If they want a website, I'll put it on my web server, right? There is no shipping. If they want a banner advert, there's no shipping. It gets sent via email. So if you're running a business where you're shipping physical products, maybe you're a printing company and you're printing out business cards and you need to send the business cards to the customer might say to you, bill me at this address, but ship it to this address. So they might have two different locations, right? This might be the head office where you're billing them to. That could be based in Birmingham somewhere, but they want you to ship the product to a London address. So billing and shipping are two different things, right? Billing on this side, shipping to this side. In my particular business, I leave this empty. So in my business, the company name here is NA, not applicable, and the address section is actually left blank. I actually leave it blank. But for argument's sake, I'm going to leave this information in here because your business might be shipping physical product. If you're not shipping physical product, all I do is just put NA here and I select this and delete it. And that's how my invoice looks like for my business, right? There is no shipping address and there is no shipping location. It's just the company name and the address here, and I send that invoice to them, and then I send them the work that I've completed, whether that's a leaflet design or whatever it might be, a newsletter design, for example, right? So hopefully that makes all sense. There's still a couple of things in here that we should really add, and we're going to highlight this row down here, and we're going to merge and center as well, and we're going to highlight this section here, and we're going to merge and center as well. We'll click on this one, add a border to it, and we'll click on this one and add a border to it. We'll click back on this one and we're going to left align it, and we'll double click inside here and we type in TEL, and this is the company that you're sending this invoice to, their telephone number. So 0208, I'm going to make this up. So why do I put the telephone number there? Couple of reasons, and you should really put a telephone number if this address is for a different company. Let me put this back in here so we can see it, right? I'll just cut and paste this back in here. Let's put 77 in there. So when you're shipping this to this company, it's worth having a phone number for that particular business, right? Because this might be a different office in a different location which has a completely different phone number, and you might call up this side of the address or this side of the company to find out if they've received the product. You might call up this side of the business to find out if they're late on payment. You need to chase them, right? There's no point in calling these guys. You ship the product to them, they've received it, they're happy, but it's these people that you need to chase for payment, or this part of the business that you're billing you need to chase for payment. So hopefully that makes sense. Sometimes you might want to put in a fax number here. I don't know anyone on the planet that uses a fax. If you're using a fax, then maybe sometimes legal companies have to fax things rather than sending them via emails. So there are reasons to have a fax number. Let's put it in there because you'll never use it. I think in 15 years of business, I've never put a fax number in here, but we'll add it there just in case you're a legal company, you want to design an invoice, or you may just want to put a fax number in there, right? So same as the telephone number above, but let's do a shortcut. Let's click on the telephone number, press Ctrl C to copy, click on this cell here and then press Ctrl V to paste, click here and press Ctrl V to paste. So you can copy and paste a formatted area into another area, and now it's already formatted for you. So all you've got to do is double click inside this cell, highlight this and turn it into fax. Just type in fax here, double click inside here and do fax. And to be fair, there's no point in putting a phone number in there or a fax number, because 99.99% of the time you're never going to put one in there. So there's no point in putting in a master template, because every time you do an invoice you're going to have to delete it. This is why I don't bother putting in a phone number here for my business, and I don't bother putting an address in here, and I put ship to NA. That's my master template, because I don't want to have to, every time I make a copy of this, I don't want to have to keep deleting this stuff, right? But for your business, you may want it to be there. But even if you're going to be using this stuff here, I don't think it's worth having anything in there. It's probably better that it's blank, so when you go and click in there, you can just cut and paste what you want, rather than having to delete it first and then paste, right? So there's one less thing to do. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Let's scroll down. Let's zoom out a little bit. We can see our template being built, right? And we've still got a lot of space down here to work with. So let's work with that space to build out the rest of our invoice template. So what I'll do is click on this row 18. Let's zoom right back in. You can see it's a bit clearer. So I'm on row 18, this particular cell here. And what I want to do, let's see, I'm going to highlight these 3 rows here. Maybe we should do 4. Let's see, 4, 1. Yeah, we can even do 5 here. I think we can get away with 5. Let's say 2 here, 2 here. Yeah, let's do 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and we're going to merge and center. And then 1, 2 here, we're going to merge and center. 1, 2 here, we're going to merge and center. And then these 2 here, we're going to merge and center. Then we're going to highlight this whole row, and we're actually going to leave it centered. We're going to leave it centered. And let's see. So what we want to do is highlight all of these and then do outside border. And in fact, we're gonna, let's see, I've done the wrong one. So it's this one, row 18. Highlight all of them and do outside border. You can see, in fact, we need to highlight all of them, and we need to not do outside border. We need to do all the borders here, all the borders. This one, this one. And that way it will create each section and put a border around each section. So in this first section, let's double click and we're going to type in product description, and then we'll press the tab key, and we'll hit the tab key. That will move us to the next section, and we're going to press F2. That allows us to edit it, and we're going to type in QUANTI, quantity, and we'll press tab again, and then we'll press F2 on our keyboard, and we'll type in unit price, and then press tab, then press F2 and type in net here. So using some shortcuts that stops you from having to use the mouse. If you can get used to using Excel and just using the keyboard and the mouse at minimum, you'll get your stuff done a lot quicker, right? And what I want to do now is click on this one, and let's see, let's click on it and paste it down. So we're going to click on this one, copy it and paste it down to row 19, and we're going to copy this one, paste it down one, copy this one, paste it down, copy this one. So press Ctrl C and then press Ctrl V to paste it. So we've got 2 of the same. So let's select this inside. So double click inside this cell and delete this, double click, highlight it and delete this, double click this one, highlight and delete, and double click inside here, highlight and delete. So we've got one blank row now. We're going to select that whole blank row. This will be our first row of data. We're going to click on row 20 and paste. We're going to click on row 21, 22, 23, 24. I'm just pressing Control V to paste, right? Control C to copy and Control V to paste. I'm going to keep pasting down here, probably down to about, let's see how many we've got. I need to just count them. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14, 15, 16. 16 should be enough. Let's do maybe, let's zoom out and see how much space we've taken. So 16, I think that's going to be enough, right? let's actually do 16, 17, 18. So 18 should be enough. You can add more rows if you think your business is going to need more line items, right, in the spreadsheet. So now we can start doing data entry. But before we do that, let's do a little bit of design work here. So what we'll do is select this row here. We'll go to the background tool here, the background color, and set it to black. And then we'll click on the font color and set it to white. So now we've got black and white like this. Just a little style change. You can do other things like that in here if you want. I just normally just do it here only. And we need to finish this off, right? So what we will do now is highlight these two here and merge and center. We'll highlight these two here, merge and center, and we'll highlight finally these two here and merge and center. We need to do the same on this side here. So select these two, merge center, these two, merge and center, and these two, merge and center. In this first one, or let's select all three of these. So left click on the top one here, drag down to here, and you're going to right align. And inside of here, we're going to do total costs. Let's spell it correctly, T-O-T-A-L. Total cost, hit the enter key, it's going to move down one. And in fact, we only need two of these, right? So we need to do total charge. We don't actually need this one. So sometimes when you merge things, you may want to unmerge them. So to unmerge them, let's click on it and go to here and unmerge. And we'll click on this one and go to here and select unmerge, and it just brings the cells back to their correct formatting. We're going to select these two and make them bold. So now this is our total cost and our total charges. We're going to select these two here, go to the border tool and say all borders. And for now, we're just going to leave this data empty, right? This is going to be our total cost and this will be our total charge. Let's think about this. Really, because this is non-vatable, there's no VAT calculations in here. Really, we don't need both of these. We just need a total charge one, right? So let's select these two here. Let's select this one here, and let's demerge it. So let's do unmerge, and we're going to go to the borders and say no border, right? Turn it off. Say no border, and then we can select this one, copy. Press Ctrl C to copy, and go up and press Ctrl V to paste. Select this one and delete it. Let's hit the delete key. We'll click here and go to unmerge, and then on this one we need to click back here and say all borders again. All borders like this. So what exactly has that done? Let's go to our like print preview. So let's go to print and now you can see the layout inside of here. You can see that, right? So this basically allows us to put line items in here. We have our unit, our quantity, we have a unit cost, and then our grand total, and then we have a total charge down here that will calculate all of these. So we're going to try and use some formulas in here to do some of the work for us. Let's go back and let's finish off down the bottom here. Now this next part is kind of optional. You don't actually have to do this, but I would advise you do it. This is what I do in my business. It works well for me. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, probably about 5 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to drag all the way across here, and we're going to go to merge and center. Merge and center here. And we want to use our text box tool again. So let's go to insert. Let's find the text box tool, and we're going to drag a section in here. We may need to add one more row, I'm not sure yet, but we'll check. I think we'll be okay. So in here we're going to say payment to be, I'm just going to write this, payment to be made to the following bank account, and then 2 dots like this. Let's drag this out so we can get that all in there. And then in here you normally put your bank details, so you say bank, and let's just say call it Bank of just going to make this bank name up, right? Bank of Bobo, whatever bank that is, I don't know, but we just make that up. And then we do account name. So this logo up here, Jalapeno Mexican restaurant, that's the name of the brand or the company, but that may not necessarily be the name of the bank account, right? That could be like, this could be a business but underneath a bigger organization. But we'll put in here as a sample, we just put in let's just do I'm going to make this up. I'm going to call it Jalapeno Res. Let's get rid of the word limited, right? So it'll just be called Jalapeno Res. Res standing for restaurant. So it's Jalapeno Mexican restaurant. So we might just call it something like Jalapeno Mex Res. That's the name of the account, right? When you make a payment, you need to know the account. In fact, you don't really need to know the account name. It's worth putting it there though. But really, you need to have the bank name. You don't even need that. You actually need just the account number and the sort code in the UK. That's really all you need, all right? So we put in I like to put this all in there. It's not going to hurt. 0673. Just going to make up an account number, something like this. I'll hit enter and then do sort code, and then that's normally like some digits like this. So you can see the problem. This text box isn't big enough, but also our this 5 wasn't enough. So let's click here and drag up. So you just click here and drag up 1. That's going to highlight this whole section. Let's do merge and center again, and then click merge and center one more time. Now that box is bigger, which allows us to click on this text box and drag it down so that we can see everything now. And we might drag it up a little bit, click on the top and drag this and just reposition it slightly. So let's right click on this text box, go to format shape, go to no fill and no line, and then close this, and then click on the main text field in the background and go to borders and do outside borders. So now we've got all of our payment information. 9 times out of 10, a customer is not going to pay, or they can't pay you if they don't know where to pay you, right? And you could put all of this information in the email that you send to them. So you could say, please find attached my invoice. Please make your payment to the following bank account. But you're going to have to do that every single time you send an invoice to a customer. So why not just put that information in the invoice and you never need to do it again? The only time you'll ever need to change this is if you change bank account, right? That's it, job done. So one important thing, which I think we should always tell the customer is, let's do payment terms. Let's try. I'm just going to click here and type in. Let's see how much space it takes. You don't need to do this. Payment terms. So two boxes. Sometimes I type things in to find out how much space it's going to take, right? So let's select this and delete it, and we'll click here and select these two and merge and center, and then we'll click here and select the rest of it, the other ones, and click merge and center, and then we're going to select both of these. In fact, we'll select the left one first, this cells here, and we'll right align it, and we'll select these cells here and we'll left align them. And then in this one here, we're going to double click and type in payment terms. Again, this you don't need to do, but I would strongly recommend you do that. Tell the client what is your payment terms. So we'll click here and we're just going to type in 14 days. Let's just type it in lowercase, right? 14 days from invoice date. We'll click on this, and in fact what we'll do, let's see, yeah, let's click on this. We'll go to make the background black and we'll make the text white like this. Let's save this. We're almost done now. Let's click file. Let's see what it's looking like. Let's go to print, and now we can see our invoice looking pretty good, right? I think there might be a way. What is this zoom page here, so we can see it a bit more clearly. This is looking pretty good. So we've got a little bit of space left at the bottom, but everything's looking quite good. I quite like this. Might even use it for my own business. It's looking that good. So let's close this. Let's save this. And sometimes it's worth having a section. We're getting quite close to the bottom here, right? There's one thing that I want to try and do to see how much space we're going to. Let's see if this will work, because if it doesn't work, we may have to do this at the bottom here. Let's go to, let me try and work out how to do this. I think we've got to go to we're going to go to, let's see, page layout, go to margins, go to custom margins, and then go to header and footer, and let's see, footer. Let's see, custom footer, left side center. So in center, we want to type in here company number, 2 dots, and then we're going to type in a company. I'm just going to make this up, right? In the UK, when you register, probably like everywhere else on the planet, you have to have a company number. When you register official business, limited company, you have a company number, and then we put a space there, and pretty much that's all we need for this particular invoice. We just need a company number. If you're VAT registered, you'll put your VAT number there possibly as well. You might put your registered address. I think we need a registered address as well, right? Trading address and registered address are two different things. So I'm going to hit the spacebar key. I'm going to put a dash there, and then hit the spacebar key again one more time. I'm going to put in registered, R-E-G-I-S-T-E-R-E-D, registered address. And I'm going to make this up so it's different from the one in the top of the template, our original company address. Let's just call it 14 Golf Road. Put comma. Let's do Ilford, Essex, IG1. Let's do that in caps, 3 and R. I think that's about it, right? Let's try. Let's click OK, and let's click OK. So you won't see that on the footer here, but if we go back to let's see, let's try it this way. Let's go to view and then page layout. We don't actually see it in here, so you don't really see that footer in here either. Let's see if we can see. Let's click back on normal here, normal, and we might have to go to file, print, and then you see the company number down here, right? Company number, registered address, 14 Golf Road, London, Essex, blah blah blah. You might put your VAT number if you're VAT registered, but we're going to look at that in part 4 of this tutorial. Remember, in the first part I said we'll focus on designing the invoice tracker. This second part, which is what we're doing now, we're going to create the invoice template. The third part, we're going to look at tracking your expenditure in your business. And in the fourth part, which is kind of optional depending on your business, we'll look at redesigning these templates and the system slightly to suit VAT registered businesses. So regardless whether you're VAT registered or not, you should follow all of these tutorials, and then in part 4 we can look at how to fix the VAT side of the business if you're VAT registered, right? So let's click the backspace here. We've got plenty of we've got a bit of space to work with, and this part again is optional. You may want to put this in there, may not. So what we'll do is highlight 2 rows like this, and in fact we'll do 4 rows like this, right? 4 like this, and we'll go back to home, we'll click on merge and center, and we're just going to draw a border around it. Where is it? Outside only, and let's click save. Let's just check that, go to print, and now we can see this box down here at the bottom. This box is for you. After you print out the document, you can write notes in there, you can type notes in there. So let's go back and put a text box so you can actually type into this now, because if you double left click it, it's bottom of the line. It's just not right, yeah. So to save us some time, let's not save time, let's do it right. Let's go click insert, let's click text box, and let's drag a text box in here. Let's try and get it kind of aligned to the same text box above, and maybe when we click in here we'll put let's just put sample text, and let's select that and let's make it a slightly smaller size, maybe about this size, right? Because you want to type some notes in there. Those notes can be about anything, but I'm going to delete this. I'm going to right click and go to format shape and go to no fill and no lines, and click no border lines, and click outside. So that text box is now visible. So if you don't put anything in there, it won't be shown, it will just be an empty box. But you might put things in there like something maybe to do with getting a discount. So imagine you send this invoice to the customer and say, next time you buy a product from us, type in this specific code in our website and you can have a discount. You put that in the invoice. You wouldn't put that in here, right? These are more general notes If you're going to do things like discount codes, you should really send it as a separate document inside the package that you're sending, or the email that you're sending. Send that off, send it, make it look good basically, right? It doesn't look good in here, but you can make a nice piece of artwork with that special offer in there, right? But in here you can type in other things. I'm not really sure what you're going to type, but these are that for additional notes possibly, yeah? Let's go to save, let's go to file, let's just check it one more time, print. I'm pretty happy with this. It's not the most beautiful invoice, but invoices are not about being look amazing. They're about raw functionality, for me anyway. Just want to get the information in there, get it in there as quickly as possible, generate the invoice as quickly as possible, and send it to the customer as quickly as possible. It doesn't need to look fantastic, it just needs to print, it needs to be informative, and it needs to get to the end result as quickly as possible. So let's get to that end result. I'm going to zoom out a little bit just to make my life a little bit easier. Something like this, right? Hopefully you can still see this quite clearly. And let's create our first invoice. So this is the invoice template. Let's close this. Let's open up this folder, and we want to create our first invoice now, right? So we've got archive here. So the first thing I'll do is click on this invoice template, right click on it and drag it into the archive and click copy here. So that's a permanent copy of our invoice tracker and our invoice template. We've got an archive going on in here. Maybe, this should be fine actually, just having it in here like this, right? Let's go back. Let's just minimize this stuff, it's distracting. Okay, so we want to create a new folder now, and that new folder is going to be called 03 invoices. Let's call it 03 invoices, or you could call it 03 sent invoices if you want, but I think 03 invoices is okay. And we're going to take this 01 template and drag it into 03 invoices here like this. And what we want to do is make a copy of this, but before we make a copy we need to open up our invoice tracker. So really the invoice tracker and this invoice template in this folder are going to work together. They're going to be best of friends. Let's see how they work out. So inside this spreadsheet, although we filled out this first row of data and we made it green and explained the reasons why we did that in the previous tutorial, the actual invoice we never really made it. If you remember, I said we've got to kind of use our imagination that we actually made this invoice, but now we're actually going to go and make this invoice. So what we would do is we need a few bits of information from here. We need the invoice number, we need the date, and we need the company name. So what we would do, I'm going to try and memorize this, right? It's pretty easy to remember, right? 1st of the 1st 2019, DCP 2019-001, and it's Bojo Limited, right? So the first thing I'll do is go into here. I'm going to click on this invoice template, right click, drag it down once and copy here. And then I'm going to click on that copy. This is the copy, right? I'm going to press, click on it, press F2 to rename it. The first thing I'm going to do is put in the invoice number. So that will be DCP. In fact, let me just do one double check, right? Because let me just see how I'm doing it in my own system, just to make sure I'm telling you the right way to do this. It will take me 1 second to check. We might as well get this right. So in fact, we're going to do this slightly differently, yeah? So let's do it exactly the same way I do it right now. So what I do is let's press F2 to rename this. I do INV because I want to know that this is actually going to be an invoice, right? Whenever I look at this file name, I need to know what this document is. It's going to be an invoice, and then it's 0001. That's the invoice number, the end part, the digit part of the invoice number that's most important to me. And then it's 01 for the first day of the month, it's 01 for the first month, and then it's 2019 for the year. Then it's space, dash, space, and then it's the company name, which was Bojo Limited, right? So that becomes my invoice for this company. So let's just double check that that is factually correct. So if we look at this, we can cross-reference it here, yeah? Normally I'm doing this, I'm just cutting, pasting this across, but I'm trying to explain as I go along, so it may look a bit long-winded, but I'm trying to explain as much as possible, right? So this invoice template always stays there. I never edit it. I don't need to edit it. I just make copies of it. And if I ever invoice this Bojo Limited again, I'll make a copy of this one and re-edit that one because it will save me a lot of time. We're going to do a few of these invoices. We'll probably do the first 4 and I'll show you how you can copy and make many invoices quite quickly. All right, so invoice 0001 is this number here, 0001, the end part, right? That's what I'm interested in. And this is the date, which is just that date there, but without the dashes. So I can understand that here. And then Bojo Limited is the name here. So I've typed it all in correctly. Let's open this up. Now I'm fortunate enough to have dual screen monitors on when I'm doing my work. I have actually 2 monitors on my desktop, so I can cut and paste things quite easily. But we can type most of this in anyway. We know what most of it is. There's invoice number DCP 2019-001, so that's already correct anyway. The date is already correct. The company name. If you're being lazy, you can cut and paste this in, but Bojo Limited is not that difficult to type in, right? The address. I'm just going to type in 99 Red Road. I'm making this up, right? So this address is completely fictional, and we do like E15 4DL. Let's do, I think we just done that, 4QL, and then the phone number, we'll change that slightly to something different. So all of the information about the customer is in there now. Don't really need to do anything else. All I need to do is describe the product, the quantity, unit price, and the net price. So the product that we sold to them was 3 times logo. So let's double click in here, press highlight it with our mouse, press Control C to copy, and then we can just paste data. You're pasting isn't the same size as the section. Do you want to paste it anyway? Let's click OK. Can't do that. OK. So when we double click inside in here and copy it, I think we need to double click in here and paste it. Yeah, with the double click and paste, right? There's one problem here. These descriptions, I want them all left aligned. So let's highlight all of these ones here and left align them, just these ones here. So we've got 3 times company logo design. So you've got 2 options here. You can write 3 times company logo design and then put the quantity here, then the unit price. But it would make more sense that you get rid of this 3 times here and just put logo design. And now there's the quantity, it's 3, right? So you did 3 times of the logo, and that cost 145. Let's see. So I think that 145 isn't going to be right, but let's just try and divide that by 3. And it comes to, let's divide by 3. Let's do that again. 145 divided by 3 is 48.33. So let's round that up to 150. Let's just say that we charge them here, not 145, but we charge them 150. I'm just trying to make the maths a little bit easier here, right? So 3 times 50, and then the unit price. If we click, if we double click inside here, we're going to write a little formula to help us, right? So we double click inside here, we'll type in the equal sign, and we'll click on this cell here. Let's click on this cell, and we'll put in the multiplication, which is shift and number 8. That is actually the multiplication sign, and we'll click here, and then we'll hit the enter key. So 3 times 50 is 150, and that will just do the maths for us, right? It's just basically doing the maths for you. You could just type in 150 there, to be fair. And then the total charge is, what we can do is click here, do auto sum, and then it will highlight all of this and hit enter. It's 150. The reason why I'm doing it this way is when I come to end, imagine if we did 2 jobs for this company, and we need to put 2 different things in this invoice. So let's just say we did something like newsletter design, right? And we need to put that in the same invoice. We could do quantity equals 1, right? Now let's do quantity equals 2 to demonstrate this, right? And then the unit price was 20, let's say 75 pounds, right? So 2 times 75 is 150 again, right? But this time, instead of typing it in, we're just going to drag down the formula. So we click there and drag down. Remember that autofill we was doing before, and because we did the auto sum, the total charge is being calculated automatically as well. So that's how you can go and fill in the spreadsheet quite quickly. Now this invoice is ready to go. So let's save this. Let's go to File. Let's go to Save As. And in this drop down, we'll select PDF here, PDF, and click Save. And let's close this. And we'll close down this spreadsheet for the moment. Let's minimize this. Now we've got 2 copies of the this invoice. We've got a PDF version and we've got an Excel version. The Excel version I never send to any customers. You never send this to any customers. You only ever send them the PDF version. So here you can see the layout and the design. Let's set this to 100. You can see it at its native resolution. So that's the layout and that's the design of the spreadsheet. I know it doesn't look like an amazing invoice, but I like my things to be functional, right? I want them to just be quick and easy for me to fill in the data. That's what my goal is to get this to the customer as quickly as possible. That's my goal. There's one thing we can probably do. What I might do is just actually delete this PDF file. We'll open up this spreadsheet, the one that we just was editing. And what we might do, which will make sense, is highlight all of these cells here. We'll right click and we'll go to format cell and we'll set them to currency. And we'll do that for this total charge as well. Just right click on it, format cell, and set that to a currency. So now it's got the correct values. And sometimes you may want to make this bold, for example, right? Save it. And what I would do now, you can see we've done quite a lot of changes to this. And we made a copy of our original template, right? Our original file here. Where's it gone? Let's minimize this. So we copied this and made quite a few amendments to the template in this invoice here. So what I would do is go to File, Save As, and we'll save it as a PDF file because we want that anyway. Okay, let's close this. Now we've got our PDF, and then this invoice template, I'm going to click on it, press F2, and then press Control C to copy. And then I'll click on it and actually delete it. And then I'll click on this one, right click, drag down, copy here, and then press F2 and then paste this here and make this my invoice template now, because I made some amendments in here, so I may as well have them in the master template as well. And I'll click on that master template, press Ctrl C to copy it, go back to my archive and press Ctrl V to paste and replace it. Replace this archived one, right? So although it's got some company information in there, that doesn't really matter, to be fair. This is like a good cut and paste job now that you can do afterwards. So let's make a few more of these quite quickly. I'm going to show you how to do them quite quickly now. So let's do this gold growth. So I'm going to select this, copy this name, and it was the 2nd of the 1st and the 2nd invoice, right? So what I'll do is I could click on this one or click on Bojo. The Bojo one is probably easier to work with, right? So I'm going to drag this, I'll click on it, right? Let's do that one more time. So I'm going to right click, drag down, copy here. Let's close that. Let's do that one more time. I'm going a bit too quick here. So let's click on it once, right click on it, drag it down and copy here. And then I'm going to press F2. I'm going to delete the word copy and delete the word Bojo Limited and press Ctrl V to have Gold Grove Limited written there. I know that it was on the 2nd of the 1st and I know it's invoice number 2. So when I hit enter, automatically that will be the one below 001s, right? So that's why we put the invoice number first, because all your invoices now will be in chronological order. 01 at the very top. If you've got invoice 900, it'll be right at the bottom. This happens to be invoice number 2, so it sits in this position here. That's why getting these invoice numbers in this format is quite a good feature, right? Let's double click on this. That will open it up. We can delete this row because I know there's only one item in there. Normally what you do is just click in here and press Ctrl V to paste, because you've got the name already in your memory, right? And then just change this to a 2, change this to a 2, or you might change it to a different date depending on the date. And it says logo design here. I know that's wrong, so we go back to the spreadsheet and it was website design. So we can just double click, press Ctrl A to select all, Ctrl C to copy. Let's go back to here, press Ctrl V to paste. It won't let me paste, remember, so I've got to double click, highlight this and then press Ctrl V to paste. And then we'll just look at our spreadsheet. By the way, I'm pressing Alt and Tab. Alt Tab on my keyboard allows me to bounce between these two very, very quickly. So I can reference what's in here. It was £1,450. So it's quantity 1, 1,450. Hit enter, enter. It will calculate the net price and it will give you the subtotal here. Let's go to File. Save As. Let's do that one more time. Let's click Save here. Let's go to File, Save As. Drop down here, PDF file. Save it, close it, done. Let's do the next one. It's Gold Grove again. So all we do is we will click on, let's see, yeah, we'll just click on this one. We'll drag down and press copy here. Then we'll press F2 and if you can have the spreadsheet, let's just cancel that. If you can have the spreadsheet or that row item visible while you're doing this copy and paste, it would help you a lot, right? So in here we can get rid of the word copy, and we want to change this to, it's still on the second day, but it's invoice 03, right? Same day. You could have put this all into one invoice, to be fair, because it's the same company on the same day, but you may just want to build them separately because they may want to pay one invoice now and maybe one later, for example. It's business card design, £75. So let's click in there. This is our invoice number 3. So let's turn this into a number 3. So sometimes you may forget what invoice number you're doing and stuff like what company you're billing and stuff like this, right? You get a bit confused while you're doing this data entry. So if you look up here, the file name helps you a lot. It's invoice 003. So we just put a 3 in here. The date is already in there. It's the 2nd of the 1st, right? So it's already the 2nd of the 1st. That's job done. The company name is correct already. That means all of this information is correct because we copied it. It was for business card design, and that was for £75. That's that invoice done. Let's just double check it. £75 business card design. Let's save this file, save as PDF file. Let's save that, close it, and we're going to do one more for this Bojo, and then that will be pretty much this tutorial done. So let's do this one a bit quicker. I'm going to copy the word leaflet design. I know it's invoice 4 and it's on the 2nd, the same day, and it's for this Bojo Limited, right? So what I can do is click on this Bojo Limited, right click, drag it down, copy it here, press F2, the company name, delete all this copy business at the back. Company name is already correct here, so all I've got to do is change the date to 02, and because I can still see the spreadsheet in the background, I know it's 04 invoice. Let's change that to 04. Now it sits at the bottom of the list of spreadsheets, or list of these invoice spreadsheets here. Let's double click on it. It's going to open. We know that we don't need this. We know that the invoice number is number 4. Even if you forget, just look at the top here, 04. The date is 02. The company name, because we copied it from an original one, that's all correct. All of this information is correct. The only thing I've forgotten is what it was, leaflet design. So let's copy that, £75. Let's paste this here, type in so quantity 1, £75. Here it is. Here's 75 quid. Let's save this file, save as PDF file, save it, and then close this. Now all of these ones here have invoices, real, well, they're fictional, but in reality those would have been real invoices I sent to the client. So every time I put something into this spreadsheet, I will go and do that job and generate the invoice. But this is the first thing I do. I put the raw information into here, and then I create the invoice, and then I send it to the client as a PDF file, right? So all of these really inside of our folder, if we just get the folder open, let's close this assets one, we don't need this. Where is it? What's this here? Don't need this. So inside here, really we would have invoice 0012. That will be the last invoice number in this. I'm not going to make 12 of them. Obviously this tutorial is going on a bit long. So but you can imagine there would have been 12 in here, right? And as and when you, the smart thing for you to remember is once you've made an invoice for a company like Bojo Limited or Gold Grove, or if you want to go and create one for WeGrove Limited or ABC Limited, when you want to create an invoice for that same company, you know all the company information hasn't changed. The address is the same, the telephone number is the same, you know, the billing details are the same, everything's the same, the company name is the same. Why not just copy one of these, rename it, and edit it? Why are you going to go through all the effort of redoing all that data entry, pasting in their name, pasting in their address, their telephone number? Why are you going to do all of that? It doesn't make no sense. You already have all the information in a previous spreadsheet template of an invoice. You just copy and paste it like I've done here. So you'll find that once you've got most of your companies that you're doing business with, you're going to do a lot of repeat business with them, like I do in my business. Like Bojo Limited could be one of the companies I do work for, and I do a lot of work for them every month, maybe 10 jobs. So I'll just copy and paste this 10 times and send them the invoice 10 times. So to send them the invoice, you know, I'm going to state the obvious, but I'm going to close the spreadsheet and save it. To send them the invoice, let's just open up my mail client quickly. And I just need to do one thing here. So I'm just going to open up a blank what we're calling this, a blank email, and then I will just drag and drop this invoice in here. I'll put in the company's name. I'm probably stating clearly the obvious, but I'm just going to show you how I do it. So it could have been info@bojo, let's call it ltd.com, and then in here I'll say invoice, what is this? Let's just call it invoice. Really, you should open up this invoice, and it's logo design and newsletter, right? So invoice for logo design and newsletter. And you can write whatever it is. Hi Bill, whatever his name is, please find attached invoice for logo design and newsletter. Press the send button, they get it, you get paid, everyone's happy, right? So let's close that down. That's just an example of how I would send it, and I always send a PDF. I never send out the Excel spreadsheet. You start sending out your invoice as an Excel spreadsheet, who can open it? They can do anything they want with it. You don't really want that, right? So that's how we go about creating this Excel invoice template, replicating it, and then that works in conjunction with our invoice tracker. So that's the end of this tutorial. If you've got any questions, I know it's quite a lot to understand, but if you think about it in logical terms, it makes a lot of sense, right? If we did a basic recap, all we've done is created one spreadsheet that allows us to track every single invoice that we've sent out, and every time we put one row item into this spreadsheet, we must create one invoice to go with it. And then we email that invoice, that PDF file, to our client, and when our client has paid us, we come back to our invoice tracker. Maybe we do that at the end of the week. You can do it once a day, it's entirely your choice. We just highlight the row, we'll make it green, we know that it's been paid. Try and keep all your colors consistent, right? You'll know it's been paid. You put in the date it got paid, how did they pay you, you put in the reference from your bank account, so that when you log into your bank account, you put the reference in there, set this to yes, and then forget about it. The only time you ever need to think about it again is when you do your end of year accounts, and you're going to hand this spreadsheet to your accountant, right? And your accounting fees are going to be much lower, and you're going to understand your business a bit better as well. There might be one company in here that you do a lot of business with, so you want to look after that company, you want to give them good deals and so forth, and you're about to see that in this spreadsheet. At the end of the year, you can reflect that, right? You know you did a lot of business with a certain company, take them out for dinner or whatever you choose to do. Let's go to save. Let's close this down. I hope you find that tutorial useful. So we've been through so far invoice tracking, and now we've done the invoice template. In the next tutorial, we're going to look at your expenditure. So in my business, I buy computer ink, I buy monitors, I buy maybe a new mobile phone for my business, a keyboard, a new microphone for me to do these YouTube videos, all sorts of things. Maybe not so much printing paper, to be fair. I don't really do that much printing. A lot of stuff gets sent via email. But I might buy some pens on paper and a diary. A lot of things that we spend in our business, the internet access, the mobile phone bill. We need to track all of these expenditures in our business. Just as much as we want to know how much money is coming into our business, it's just as important to know how much money is going out, our staff wages and so forth, right? So the next part of this tutorial should be a lot shorter, and we'll explain and show you how to create a invoice expenditure tracker. That's what we're going to be doing. And then if you want to join me in the fourth part of the tutorial, we'll convert this system into a system that is applicable for VAT registered businesses. So we're about to calculate VAT, calculate that in our spreadsheets, in our invoices and so forth, right? Okay, so let's close down this. This is all closed down. We'll close this down, and hope you find this tutorial useful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next DCP web tutorial.